Tristan, it's that time of year where we predict and probably get a lot wrong the playoffs of this year, 2024. It's here, baby. It's here. It's the week before football starts. Let's start predicting. I'm going to give it to you first.
Here we go. This is my official playoff prediction for 2024. Again, we made a bunch of over-under videos. We're not held to anything we said in those videos. This is our last chance to change it and lock it in. So I have made some changes, trying to get new teams in. Here we go. In the AFC, the 1 seed, I have yet again the Kansas City Chiefs. I think they'll be better than last year. I think last year was the year to get them. I do have them back as the 1 seed hosting playoff games this season. At the 2 seed, everyone's doubting them this year, and I think doubt them at your own peril. Josh Allen is still a dog. I've got the Bills as the 2 seed. The 3 seed, and this was really, really difficult, but I'm going with Jacksonville to win the AFC South and get back in. It's now or never. I'm going to ride this roller coaster off the tracks. I went under in the video, but I thought about it. I'm riding with Trevor Lawrence. He got paid. This is the time to do it. He dealt with an injury last year. If he's healthy, they should make it because they started out hot last year. I'm taking the Jags as the 3 seed and the 4 seed. Maybe not back to the form we expect, but I do think they will take this division. I've got the Bengals winning the North, taking the 4 seed back, hosting playoff games. 5 seed, the Ravens, they make it as a wild card. The 6 seed, the Texans, they do make it, but they don't win the division. I think people are going to have tape on them. It's going to be a tougher season for them, so a little harder road, but they still squeeze into the playoffs. And lastly, another AFC South team, the Indianapolis Colts, mainly because I trust Shane Steichen. I am concerned about Anthony Richardson, but I think the coach will find a way to get it done. Those are my AFC playoff teams.
You know, I like it. I really do. I just want to ask you, who did you have winning the Super Bowl last year?
Last year, that would be Jacksonville.
Yeah, so you're going to double down because you like to be in misery? Is that what I'm hearing? Or
at this point, I'm just so used to the pain. I feel like, why change now? Honestly, what made me change is last year the Jags were basically like, 8-2, 8-3 or something. They were rolling. Trevor got hurt. That Baltimore game went bad, and they just were never the same. So I did believe in Trevor Lawrence, and I did believe in Doug Peterson. I don't want to throw that all away because of a season collapse that involved an injury. So the more I think about it, the more I'm willing to give the second half of last year a mulligan. It could be a mistake on my part, but part of it also comes down to I think other teams will be more prepared for the Texans. They're the team everybody's on. Everybody's so hot on the Texans. And I just feel like they're going to take a little step back just because it's going to be steeper competition. People are going to be gunning for them, obviously both in the playoffs, but I do have Jacksonville as a 3 seed.
I like it. You got your Kansas City Chiefs winning the West. I see where you're going there. You're doubling down, and I assume that you are going to hope for the best for the Kansas City Chiefs, even though a lot of people are kind of down on them this year, man.
Yeah, I feel like just people don't expect a three-peat, and I understand it's going to be difficult, but the West is still not a great division. I mean, they kind of benefit in the same way New England did. There's just not a lot of great teams in their division. They obviously have a tough schedule like they always do, but they've had tougher, and I think last year was the year to get Kansas City. That was their weakest team in the Mahomes era. They're going to be better this year. Defense, not going to be quite as good. Obviously, losing Snead is an issue, but bringing in all of the receivers, the pass catchers, I think the offense is going to take a step up. At the end of the day, it's still Patrick Mahomes, it's still Andy Reid, it's still Travis Kelce. I've got them as the 1 seed, and I guess I'll go ahead and move to the NFC if you're ready.
Let's go.
In the NFC, the number 1 seed, I've got the Green Bay Packers. Number 2, the Los Angeles Rams. Number 3, the Philadelphia Eagles. Number 4, the Atlanta Falcons. Don't worry, they'll disappoint in the playoffs. Number 5, as a wild card, the Detroit Lions. Still good, still make the playoffs, but they don't win the division. They lose out to Green Bay. 6th seed, maybe my hottest take, San Francisco. They don't win the division. They lose it to the Rams, still make the playoffs. And lastly, another NFC West team, the Seattle Seahawks. Every year, there's about 5 new playoff teams, and I just had to find new guys to put in. It never goes chalk. It never goes exactly how you expect. And I feel like the Seahawks are better than people are giving them credit, and they feel like one of those teams everyone's sleeping on. And I know Mike McDonald's going to have the defense playing good, or it could be a situation just like the Jaguars because I picked them to make it to the Super Bowl last year. I just can't quit them.
Yeah, you seem to favor the West here. You have the 49ers, the Seahawks, and the Rams making it in from the West. In the AFC, you were favoring the South here. So do you think the NFC West is the best division in the NFC?
Yeah, maybe. It's that or the NFC North. And at the end of the day, I just felt like the Bears, because of having the rookies, I feel like they're going to be in the playoff hunt. but they're just going to barely miss out. I mean, I could easily see the Bears being the last seed, but when I look at the NFC, there's not a lot of teams I could see making it, like instead of the Seahawks, like Tampa Bay, maybe.
So the Cowboys is really what my question is going to be to you. Why do you have the Seahawks going into the wild card over the Cowboys?
Good question, because when I first made my prediction, I had the Cowboys making it, but I wanted to find a fifth team to get in, and I just couldn't take one in the AFC. And I feel like there's a lot of problems in Dallas. They're still going to win a lot of games. Honestly, they're probably still going to make the playoffs, but it does feel like a lame duck season. It's almost like McCarthy knows he's getting fired after this year. Are they moving on from Dak after this year? It sure seems like it, the way they're just letting the contract ride out. They still got to pay Micah Parsons, and then there's just a lot of bad vibes around there. He's got one pass catcher, CeeDee Lamb. That's literally it. Losing Dan Quinn. I know they brought in Mike Zimmer, but I feel like they're going to take a step back, still be a good team, but I have them just missing out because it feels like it's almost let's get to 2025 season for them. I don't have a lot of confidence in them.
Yeah, I get it. It's hard to have confidence in certain head coaches and certain organizations when they've burned you so many times and they seem to just not be able to get it right. Let me move on to my AFC predictions if it's okay with you. All right, let's start off with the 1 seed. I have the Baltimore Ravens, and more to come on those guys shortly. Number 2 seed, I have the Miami Dolphins. I do think that they take the East here. Number 3, I have the Houston Texans. CJ Stroud is going to lead the Texans to a victory for the AFC South. I really do believe that. I think the Texans have what it takes to be a playoff team for sure, possibly a Super Bowl team. I know a lot of people are kind of favoring them to be kind of a sneaky Super Bowl pick. I could see it. I really could. I mean, the team has lots of weapons all around them. CJ Stroud should be able to sling it out pretty good this year. In the 4th seed, I do have your Kansas City Chiefs. Look, I know what everybody's going to say. It's like, okay, can y'all get off the Chiefs bandwagon? Well, no, we can't. You know why we can't? Because they keep repeating and keep doing great. So until they don't do good, I'm going to keep putting them there every step of the way. Let's start off with the wild cards. I have the New York Jets in the East. I know you're completely against this, but I think the Jets, on paper, if everything goes well, they have a really good year lined up for them. This defense can take them a long way. I talked about this in our predictions a couple of weeks ago. I think the Jets defense can take them a lot further than most people think, as long as certain people stay healthy. Aaron Rodgers, if he stays healthy, this team it could be really scary. Wildcard slot number 2, I have the Bengals. I know you had them winning the North, and as your 4th seed in your predictions, I think they'll scoot in right under the Ravens and get that second wildcard slot. I do think that Joe Burrow is on a revenge tour this year, and watch out for those guys. They're going to be scary as well. And then rounding out the AFC, I have the Buffalo Bills. Why will I be so down on my team? Well, it's because they've done terrible in the offseason. They haven't got any weapons for Josh Allen. I don't know how this receiving core is going to go, but I do think that they'll be able to put enough wins together to sneak into a wild card. That's my AFC, buddy. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, you say down on the Bills. I don't think you're really down on them. They're still in the playoffs.
Still in the playoffs. The playoffs?
The playoffs. Yeah, it's still a good season. I'm obviously higher on them than most people. But my only concern with this is it's the same division winners as last year. That's the only thing that stands out to me, and I feel like that's unlikely. Obviously, I'm lower on the Dolphins than most people. I don't even have them in the playoffs. I'm good with most of the others. I've made my opinions known about the Jets. I just don't trust them to make a whole season. But I'm more surprised that you got the same division winners.
Yeah, you see, you went analytical, and I just went by feelings and emotions because that's kind of how I run my life. Emotionally, I feel like these are the teams that are going to win. I don't care if that was the division winners last year, the year before, or 1992. This is just my take on it. If I'm wrong, I'll be wrong. I'm okay with admitting defeat, but I feel confident in all these teams. I really do, and I know, especially with your Bengals pick winning the North, I could see them beating the Ravens. But I have more faith in Lamar finishing a season than I do Joe Burrow. I know that's rough to say, but that's just how I feel.
Which is really interesting because Lamar Jackson's the one that's been injury prone in the past. Like before last year, I think he had back-to-back injured seasons, but now One thing I'm concerned about Burrow is it seems like the wrist thing is lingering. Like it doesn't seem like that's really going away. That's a bit of an issue. They're also a team that always starts slow and their schedule doesn't allow them to. Again, I have them winning their division, but it's going to be fun to watch. They're going to be one of the teams we're both watching early on. With that said, go ahead and give me your NFC.
Yeah, let's do that. So in the 1 seed, I had the San Francisco 49ers. Brock Purdy is going to keep eating. Brandon Ayuk finally got paid. I think he's going to be, obviously, judging by the paycheck he got, he will be an integral part to this offense. Number 2, I got the Lions in the 2nd seed. I think they'll win the North. I think that, let's save the Lions discussion in just a moment. Number 3 seed, I have the Philadelphia Eagles. Jalen Hurts will keep this Eagles team rolling. And, the offensive line is going to be a question because they did lose Jason Kelce. I'm interested to see how that holds up. Week 1, I think we'll see a lot. And it's concerning, to say the least. But I think they'll push through. And when you look at the strength of the East, I think they have an easy path forward. Obviously, you agree with me. 4th seed, I have the Atlanta Falcons. I guess I copied you on that one, these last two a little bit. But the Falcons, I believe Kirk Cousins is going to bring another level to this Falcons organization. As long, the head coach, the assistant coaches, the offensive defensive coordinators have all changed. And I think that we're going to be in for a welcomed Atlanta Falcons team this year. I think they're going to have things put together a lot more than people may believe. Let's move on to the wild cards. Green Bay is one of my wild cards. I know you have them winning the North, but I personally believe that Jordan Love may take a one step back, just maybe even a half a step. I just don't think he's going to play to the level that everybody is pumping him up to play, and I think that's what loses him the North with the Lions. Cowboys, I have them coming in. I do have them in the playoffs, unlike you. I know you said it's plausible, even likely that they make the playoffs. I'm right there with you. I can't imagine an NFC bracket without the Cowboys in it at this point. I know, they just seem to sneak in every year, and I think they'll do it again. And last but not least, I have the Rams. The Rams are my sleeper team this year, by the way, in all of NFL. I think the Rams are that sneaky team that people they're kind of sleeping on Matt Stafford over there. And that's one guy you don't need to sleep on. I think that with Cooper Kupp coming back fully healthy, we presume, Puka Nacua, second year in, obviously went lights out last year. Kyron Williams, one of the best running backs in the league. I think he finished maybe right behind Christian McCaffrey in fantasy points last year. This team could be deadly on any given week. They could even win the West, but I still think that the 49ers are just a hair better. It's going to be fun to see how that West shakes out. I do favor the West a little bit more in the NFC. I think they are the best division in the NFC. That's my predictions. What do you think?
Yeah. I obviously agree about the Rams. I'm very high on them. I have them as my 2 seed. I have them winning the West because for the 49ers, they're one of those teams that I just feel like the regression has to come. It has to come at some point. And also, this offseason has been really noisy and messy with the 49ers. The Ayuk thing was, honest, let's just call it what it is. It was embarrassing. Not on their part. It was embarrassing the way he was handling it. Like, it really was.
I get so sick of his Instagram stories, man. And
it got to the point where John Schneider was at the podium eventually we got to stop being children and sign a contract. Like, they were like $1 million off. Literally, that was the difference. And a $30+ million contract. It's absurd. But I still think, obviously, I've got the 49ers in the playoffs. They're going to be good. I just feel like a regression is due after climbing the mountain again and losing to the same team and the Super Bowl. At a certain point, it has to buckle a little bit. There's just a lot of noise around the 49ers. As for the Rams, how did they handle the Aaron Donald retirement? I think they will be okay. Obviously, you will miss him, but I think they've got enough young talent to backfill it. You're never going to replace Donald, but I think they're going to be okay. I believe in Stafford. So I like it. I agree with you. I feel like the NFC was a little more chalk this year. Obviously, there could be some teams that surprise us, but there weren't a ton of teams I considered like big contenders in the NFC.